All right, guys, and we're in round one of our Wednesday weekly. We got Bakugo versus Shigaraki. Very exciting. Two very interesting decks that you kind of have to play a little bit shifty and differently. You know, Shigaraki having those one big poke attacks that if you get hit, he's going to go ahead and destroy some of your stuff, versus Bakugo, who, hey, you're going to block me? Well, cool. Progressive difficulty does not exist for me then. So it's going to be really fun to see that back and forth and to see how these two very destructive decks are going to face up one against the other.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty explosive right out the gate here. With if Bakugo destroys his own foundation for +2 damage, and he gets full blocked by Shigaraki and says goodbye to a second foundation, it's not going to be fun for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in general, because of Bakugo's strategy, his card pool is often cleared. But if what the longer it gets, the more he's going to have to start actually using his foundations. And if he doesn't have enough to actually be able to utilize his aggression, then that's going to be a big spot for him. So there's definitely an opening there for Shigaraki to be able to get in there and wreak some havoc. So it'll be very interesting to see which ones actually do pull through ahead.
For sure.
So which one do you think has the advantage here, Luhan?
Oh, I certainly think Shigaraki is ahead in this matchup. I mean, especially if he's playing if Aqua Taco here has got his a more the control variant where you have quite a few tools to block evil gaze and more defensive package. Bakugo certainly doesn't have a lot of defenses and doesn't take a lot for Shigaraki to to blow you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think especially since Shigaraki forces you to play differently. So because you play differently, it's just kind of that weird spot where it's, you know, um, do I understand the matchup enough? And if I don't, then you can get hard punished. So we'll have to see how prepared Inferno is to be able to actually deal with the way that Shigaraki plays out the game. Although apparently there may be a repair, so we may be looking at shifting tables.
Nope. I would say that's a good thing for Bakugo. If I'm the Bakugo player right
Uh,
now.
Probably, I would say, yeah.
Nope. That hand just was like, bring it on. He doesn't want to be repaired.
All right, and yeah, it looks like the players are jumping around. So we'll actually go ahead and jump back to the caster's table for a quick sec here, and just ready. We'll see while we ready up another match instead. Which is a shame. Those are two very interesting characters, very characters that we see in and out of popularity. Bakugo is a character that, like, results aside, because he hasn't been going undefeated in any of these tournaments, but his numbers has been consistently some of the highest across all the characters in the game. So very nice to see, that deck still push through and players still trying to crack the code on exactly how to play him.
Yeah, agreed. Um, the I've seen some spicy Bakugo those with the one check decks, with the double front
Yeah.
beatdowns. That is obviously quite a powerful card. That's why he has one check. But you check that one at the wrong time, and there you
Mm-hmm.
goes your game plan.
All right, looks like at table four we have a Lita versus Ochako, which I think could be very interesting. So we could
Ooh,
definitely go check that out.
take a look. Mullah man, that's our Filipino friends.
I believe so. Yes, our resident international players. So Ochako 2 making a ton of waves. I think she's been incredibly popular character since the release of the DLC, and understandably so. She has a really powerful kit. The character just kind of works in a way where you can actually kind of sneak in some quote unquote free wins, just because sometimes it just lines up really well against what the opponent has. So it'll be really interesting to see how Ida responds here in consequence.
Yeah, is it Ida one or Ida two? I can't quite tell.
I believe it's Ida 1,
Gotcha. Yeah, we don't see that many Idas, so curious to see how our friend here Trent pairs up against Ochaka.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Ida's kit is like really solid. Like you see his kicks used in a bunch of other decks. He has some of the best foundations in the form of things like fulfilled my duty and legacy. Some really or lineage. I mean, so he has some really solid cards across the board that utilize really well in other characters. Whereas Ida just allows to really push that speed factor at the max. So if anything, I think people will be used to his kit, but not so much the actual card pool that he utilizes. So it's going to be interesting to see how they land, how that lands, and if it'll be effective against Ochako here.
For sure. He's got, some of his foundations are definitely staples, with fulfilled my duty, heroic lineage, calling for backup. Lots of good stuff in there.
Yep. So it does look like Ochako has won the die roll. So they'll be going ahead and writing it up.
That I think that's a big advantage for Chaco. He
Yes,
certainly
especially
strikes
for a
me.
deck that plays as explosively as Ochako, 100%.
Yeah, strikes
Being able to get those first attacks in, being able to, and like the big thing is not only about getting your first attacks in, but it's additionally being able to put your opponent into an uncomfortable position where now there's a trade-off between attacking and defending. And whereas like going first, Ochako is gonna have the benefit of being able to be really aggressive and not have to worry too much about the counter aggression, because now you force your opponent into a position where they feel like, well, maybe I won't be able to actually go in for it because I might just die on the crackback. So
yeah, super interesting. So seems like Chaco had a build three, not too bad. Probably the median, let's say, for a five hander.
yep. So on the top we have Mullet Man, and on the bottom we have Trensky representing their representative characters.
Oh yeah, I think we still have the names from the previous matchup, right? So we're gonna have to make that quick change. Who do you think is favored here between the two?
Probably Ochako, especially since she went first. I think it's going to be really explosive. It's going to be really tough for Ida to be able to deal with the kit. Ida, obviously, especially here, having the pair of fulfilled my duties on board means that it is going to be in a position to be able to shut down anything too wild if Ochako tries to go crazy with her enhances. So there is some well planned disruptions, but because like exactly here, like Gale Force Punch, just going for those huge match of explosive attacks, are definitely going to put Ida in an uncomfortable position. So I think Ochako 2 is probably in a good position here, but we'll see how it actually plays out.
Yeah, with Ida's ability to steal the first enhance, you know, could could steal the enhance and destroy fulfill my duty before Chaco has a chance to give the speed pump too.
Yep, exactly.
So it looks like Ida has the first enhance, and maybe there's a little bit of
One,
a card reading that's happening right now. This,
yeah,
both players seem to be discussing some stuff.
yeah, definitely in a tank.
Oh, it
You
seems
know,
like Ida's giving him the speed hate.
yeah, looks like we're going to flip or draw. Which are some fair considerations, right? Because your opponent's able to blow up one of your foundations. Um, so there's the option there to just kind of blow up your own foundation and just remove that option from him. Um, so here's the trap. Just like, I'm gonna get my card then instead.
Yeah,
But
Gale Force
losing one
Punch.
for filled, yeah, losing one for filled my duty here, and now we're just gonna go proceed to blocks. Oh, we got a full block there, and then we're just gonna build.
Well, Ida survives that turn
Yeah, that wasn't too
pretty
bad.
well.
So we'll see how much you'll be able to utilize it. But especially if this is on part of Nomu's kit, uh, know, Ochako doesn't need much to run. We've seen in the previous week, Ochako be able to kind of get there with like 2 or 3 foundations. So there's very much a realm where Ochako can just coast, play this low foundation game, and if Lita overextends on being able to build this stuff, then Ochako can not only apply a ton of pressure, but also kind of punish you for that and keep using cards like Gale Force Punch to keep on setting you back and leaving themselves an opening for big explosive damage, like Ochako can very easily do, especially when if we're taking in like meteor swings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like we'll
and
take the
especially the
first
33
hit.
health.
Yep, gives you a lot of breathing room for sure.
I have a hard time seeing the card that's being played right now. I don't know about you.
Mm. I mean, I presume it's an attack given that there's dice next to it, but a little bit tough to make out at the moment.
I'm gonna try to zoom in on him, see what I can get at. Well, it certainly looks like Wachako is blocking that attack.
And then it does. All right, we got one foundation standing after that block.
So it looks like
All
he just
right.
ended up building correct, if I got that right.
Yep, just ended up building what they got, passing it over, and now Ochako's got, I believe, 5 standing to be able to go into her aggression, which is quite a bit, honestly. Depending on the kit, I mean, I will say that if you're running Nomu's kit, you do tend to have big beefy checks or big beefy difficulties in the form of like things like Gale Force Punch, which definitely means that you're a bit higher up the curve than other Ochako 2 builds we've seen previously. But nevertheless, you can definitely still get there. So here's another Gale Force. No matter what, you're going to be checking one unless you're running those 6 checks in your deck.
Well, he's got that arrogant disposition that he just had, and so
Mm-hmm.
definitely has a couple.
Then the question is, are they going to be at parity?
Seems like
Yeah,
Ida's
so they're
got
both at 5. So
okay. No debuild this turn for Ida.
nope, but potentially an extra 5 damage on the next attack. So
Yeah, it's it puts your opponent in an awkward position. Do you block this one and maybe you have to commit some foundations down to block it, and then we'll have Ochako hit you with a massive attack next, or do you take the 6 and try to block the bigger one that's swinging for coming for your face right afterwards?
yeah, one of the big things about Nomu's kit is the fact that a lot of it has some beefy stats right out the gate. So even if Lita puts himself in a position of just ending the enhanced step, um, he's always going to be in the threat of still taking quite a bit of damage if he doesn't block. So it's a lot of really heavy chip damage that can eventually get him down to a very dangerous life total.
Agreed. Looks like Mole Man there probably reading some card text. Got his hand on the
Potentially.
mouse.
All
Have you played
right.
a lot against Ida 2 or Ida 1?
I played against his kit quite a bit, but that's primarily because Eraserheads are running it. As far
Yeah, I
as
played
the
against
as
Kid a bunch. Yeah.
yeah, as far as the character itself, no, I haven't played against Ida as a character card all that often. So, which is interesting, right? Because I'm used to all his cards, but I'm not used to them being at basically instant speed because Ida effectively makes all enhanced steps his enhanced steps. So, oh, looks like the players are bumped off. And what's that?
Nope. Looks like we lost. And look, no cook came in. Mr. Judge here might have come in and Oh, thanks, Lenoco. So
Oh,
they're coming back, it seems. Talk to us about reciprocal extend. Had a hustle. You know a thing or two about reciprocal extend. Good card. What can I say? You know, some of us seem to be able to have it in their opening hand all the time as their first attack on the attack stream. What can I tell you?
it's a very good card.
All right, looks like we're back.
Players are jumping back in.
Seems like there might have been a ruling of some sort. Did you catch
Maybe,
it?
or just maybe something in regards to the connections and just trying to clear it.
Trying giving the good boy some pads there in the background.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Looks like we're jumping into it. Looks like we are giving it a bit of a speed debuff.
So that was his second calling for backup. I assume must have been.
Mm-hmm.
And Ochako gave one damage. Was that tight lipped? Oh look, so it seems like more speed hate.
Yeah, this thing's now looking to be a 0 speed.
Looks like he did heroic lineage and then flip requesting assistance to re-ready it. Good move. Going to be able to give some more speed debuffs. Oh, and oh, interesting. He sent heroic lineage to a discard pile. I guess was that Gale Force Punch that did that?
Shouldn't be. So Gale Force Punch only works if your opponent has more. And they were at parity.
I must have missed something. They look looks like he destroyed it though.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, looks like we're moving forward. We're gonna build. A lot of commitment though on making sure that this attack didn't get through. So playing incredibly defensive on either side.
Yeah. Well, you don't want the chocolate to start cycling those attacks. I'm guessing.
Hmm.
It's back to his turn. So he successfully uh, defended once again.
Yep, a good number of cards flipped, however. So, gotta make it tough. I believe this is Reciprocal Extend or Reciprocal Burst. I mean,
Is that a burst? I can't tell.
I believe it's Burst.
All right.
See, it looks like he's setting up. All right, so it might be Extend actually because he's got dice set up for his next attack, and it's +2/+2 on the other side.
Yeah, I think you're right. So it looks like it's a full block from Ochako. Quite a bit tapped out.
Decently enough, so yeah.
And passes the check on his next kick. That flying thruster, I believe. I think so. My divination powers for cards are. One more card in Ochako's hands. Can she block?
Probably. And now we're completely committed out. So
Uh,
anything else we got is gonna go through. I don't think we have lethal here, but I've been surprised before. Yeah, nope. We're gonna good position here. Ochako is gonna be able to draw into a full new hand. Um, and now it's just
yep.
how much defense does Ida want to store in hand, and how much does he actually just want to be able to clear those checks. So we're gonna fail it and then
Ooh,
build one and pass it along. Very defensive
yeah,
game here on
he
both
just seems
sides.
to be on the
Both
back
players
foot
just
here.
full blocking everything.
Correct. Yeah, Ida's definitely a more control-oriented character, and then Ochako does want to go in, but she seems to have a little bit more juice going for her, at least in the staging area.
Yep. So we'll see. I mean, I think about three-ish cards in Lita's hand, so we'll see how much he can utilize that to actually defend himself. So both we're seeing both DLC cards here, both float combo as well as first day of class on the check,
Yeah, we're, that synergy.
right?
Full combo is a
So at any
beautiful card.
yep, it's a very gorgeous card. As a very interesting
Oh,
combo
looks
at any
like
point in time you can
Ida just goes
switch.
to Feel My Beauty right away. Doesn't want
Doesn't
doesn't
want to
want
see it.
Ochako to use the the float combo effect to be able to guarantee the bounce. Oh, here comes a big 7 check, and he
And,
checks a 5.
all right, so pretty solid. So beefy Gale Force Punch.
Yeah, and Ida used his once per turn speed hate, and he's used his Fill My Duty. He's he's a little
Yeah,
I
we're
don't know
gonna
if I would have
go.
done that if I was Ochako, knowing that lineage is up.
Maybe it's bait. You force it out.
True. I mean, at this point, you haven't used your response a single time. Ida's been blocking everything that you've thrown at
Yep.
him. Let's see. Does he have
And the
another?
long at minimum, the longevity here is definitely more with Ochako, just because Lita has so many of his foundations just flipped around. So it's a lot of dead cards that are effectively not doing anything. So he has resources, but he doesn't have a lot of depth in terms of things that he can do to kind of press Ochako ability wise. So on Lita's side, it's all going to be a numbers game. Can he get enough numbers?
Ooh, some spice there. I think that's gutter punk elbow. Shows it
Pretty
even to the
beefy.
camera. Mullen man, bring it out. I gotta look up this card. What did
Say
I bring?
Fury Slam combo weapon. Combo enhance, discard one momentum, add the first card in your card pool to your hand. And the other one is enhance, cancel the next non character ability your rival plays as enhanced step. Yep, so just
Well,
utilizing it mostly to get it in there, get some damage in.
you love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate that Ochako has zero momentum to play with right now. Cannot use gutter punch elbows effect. But this will pretty much be the first damage that, yeah. Was that the first damage that Ida took, or did we miss something? Maybe,
Took proper, yeah.
yeah.
I don't think at any point so far Ochako was able to use her ability. So we're just gonna build one, we're gonna pass, and we'll see what Ida's able to do between having one enhance in this found it's in stage,
Yeah.
and
And
then this
Ochako
character, of course.
did not pick up the gutter punch elbow either, and just go
Mm-hmm.
straight to end turn. That's an interesting choice. I guess she wouldn't have been able to pass, or it may not have been able to pass
He
because you're.
recurred it. He recurred it. So he attacked, he hit, he put it back in hand, and then he did it again.
Oh, okay. So is this reciprocal burst?
Maybe. Yeah, looks like it.
I think I saw stun one, so that's what I'm basing
Hmm.
that call off of.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid call. Except we're gonna commit a Chaco, make that a little bit easier for us.
Yep, take out some speed.
All
Oh,
right,
so it
looks
looks
like
like
we're
we
just
took out the
gonna
speed, but we
take
took the
7.
damage.
Go down to
Interesting.
22. Yeah, and here we're just gonna
Wait,
build. Makes
okay.
sense. Give yourself some abilities down there. Give you a little bit more options in terms of trying to defend ourselves from Ochako.
Yep. Been playing a very defensive game. Ida has.
Hmm.
Both players
Kind
still
of.
above 20.
Yeah, it kind of has to. I think Ida's just gonna have to keep on utilizing the fact that he can kind of bump up the speed of his attacks to a point where he can kind of poke. But just because like his resources have been mitigated so early on, not gonna have to play it smarter in terms of being able, they're being a little bit more careful about dealing with the crackback.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any more of those fulfill my duties either.
Hmm. So long lasting explosion kicking in here.
Shot with some big attacks.
Yeah, and this has been a favorite across basically any character that can utilize this card have been doing it to great effect. Um, Keeps your opponent guessing. It's just really well statted. 5 mid for
Yeah.
6, while also
5 mid
potentially
for
giving a
8 in
bit
Otaka.
boost. Yeah, like it's just a very very solidly statted card.
Or 7 mid for 5, I should say. Or 7 mid for 6. Very good. Very solid. Yeah.
Ooh, it's gonna cost all
Oof.
of it to block this one,
Commits out.
and now especially with the +2 speed that she can just kind of give every single attack. Um, High likelihood here that we're just gonna be taking a lot of these attacks.
Is it another gutter punch elbow that just came in?
Maybe.
I think so.
Binding kick potentially. Just because at the moment the kid's not really running weapon attacks, so you wouldn't really, so it doesn't synergize all that much. If it
True.
was elbow,
Oh yeah, I don't think the other one was elbow either. I think it was just
but
okay.
all
Well,
right,
this
looks
one
like we're
hits
just gonna take it. Yeah, so this is
hands
binding
down.
kick, just because he drew the card after the hit. So this is a
Got
pretty
it.
nasty combo. I mean, one card basically represents, not only Binding Kick getting in does a multitude of things. Not only does it attack twice, but it draws you 2 cards. So you're effectively getting 4 cards of value out of just that one play, which is absolutely insane.
Very true.
And this is what
That was
Ochako does
very
incredibly well. Is just
yeah.
beefing up the speed every single turn, being able to turn one attack into 2 attacks. And you're just kind of in a position where it just does incredibly well in terms of uh putting your opponent in a position where you can just out resource them because of how efficient you are.
Yeah, and especially after knowing your opponent is pretty much tapped out, really going in now.
Yeah, you effectively have free reign here. Going to use the combo enhance to get out the damage, and then we're going to attempt to block. We're going to fail the block. We're going to take the damage, go down to 7.
Draw another card. Are
Pretty
we
decent.
continuing? Are we trying to go for game here? Do we have the
I mean,
juice?
if you have the orange and you can make it big enough, I think you just go for it. Nope. Looks like we're
Looks like
just
we
going to
don't.
build some gray.
And we'll fail the second first day of class.
All right, so this was definitely the opening for El Chaco. So it's unfortunate not being able to string, which at the end of the day might not even just be about the fact that El Chaco didn't have the attack, but just didn't feel likely about passing the check to get it through. Right? We do know that the deck runs some 6 check attacks, and those are some 6 difficulty attacks, and those can be extraordinarily tough to get through once you're a couple of cards into your progressive difficulty. So
Yeah.
which is a shame though, because this was definitely an opening that Ochako had to be able to do as much as she wanted to without much repercussion. But once again, Lita checking not great here. Checking another attack, so having to commit a foundation on the first one.
Yeah, unfortunate check there, and down to 7 life as well. Options dwindling.
All
Unfortunately,
right,
that
so
is
extend.
yeah.
Yeah, extend will do what
Here,
extend does. And looks like we're just gonna take.
get the
That's
damage
fine.
through.
A little bit of damage. You got 3 blocks available too, so keep it for the big stuff.
Do you play reciprocal burst here if you've got it? Is it time?
It's a tough call. Like you're so behind on resources versus your opponent, but like if you give your opponent another turn, they're just gonna make another push. So it's really tough call here on either side to figure out what exactly the right call is. All right, we're just gonna build and
And he just
pass.
builds and pass,
Yeah.
collects another momentum.
Yep. I think this kind of poke game is just kind of the position that he has been forced to, just because you've been forced in that corner. So you just kind of hope your opponent makes a mistake, your opponent overcommits, you're able to defend all of it. And if that's the case, then maybe you can find your in to be able to close out the game. You're just kind of squeezed into playing the slow game at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like Ochaka's about to cycle as well.
Yep. Kick us off with a long lasting, and we'll cycle away the deck.
It's been a hell of a game one.
A lot of back and forth, a lot of poke, a lot of playing very defensively. Um, we did see an opportunity where Ochako shines in being able to just kind of take advantage of your opponent being fully committed out. So some unfortunate checks on Ida's side for sure. They're not helping the deck. But nevertheless, it does look like we lost about four orange cards for Ochako here. So not too bad. Definitely a lot of gas left in the deck. Never mind. I think I see 6. So a good chunk of her attack capabilities. But if the hand was already gassed up from the get-go, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're leading with long lasting, could mean there's some more coming up afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mulliman chooses to tap first day of class here, we'll be also telegraphing that he's got some more coming up. Oh, and,
Yep.
and there you are.
So we're still at 6 damage, but we're at 2 speed now.
Yep. I'm assuming we can gain back the speed. Oh, well, we do brute strength because we can, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Let's do from Ochako.
Go. So we're sitting at 4 mid 7. And we'll attempt to block. We successfully block.
So it looks like that
Here's
was
a kick.
blocked. And here again, biting kick again. Checks a 5. Gets a +3 speed.
Yep.
Gets a +2 speed. This is, I don't think Ida's blocking this.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like an unblockable range at this point.
I'm also reading our boy Trent's body language, and it's not looking great.
Mhm.
I think he's well, he's got quite a few cards in his hand. Maybe I'm not counting him out, but he's
Yeah, he didn't do much for this turn, right? He attacked, he built, and then he kind of coasted. So he's got the defense. It's just, is he gonna, how well is he gonna check?
taps Ida, taps some foundations. All right, still going.
Another one.
Another one. we going.
Yeah, but here
Getting
Ochako has
into-
been checking really well this game.
That is true. I mean, your opponent's at 7 health. You might as well go in for it.
All right, we're gonna take one more damage, bump up that damage.
But I think biting kick here should be for lethal.
It's
Yeah.
we're looking at 6 damage at the moment. Now we're at lethal range. Now we're at 7.
So can we block this as Ida? Do we still have? We should have the blocks. Laying it down. What do we check?
Yeah, it looks like we're okay. So now the question
Ooh,
is, does Ochako have
that was a
one
half
more? That was a
block.
half block. So anything will get through at this point. So just do you
Well,
can
he's
you
gonna pick up.
oh right,
Yeah,
right. Half damage
picks it
cuts
up.
as well. So pick up, go, have a half
+2 to
decent
the
check.
check. So that's on a 5, taps 1. Still has brute strength
And that
shot.
should be game. Yep. So
That's
we're
game. Yeah,
going to
I
game
think
2.
so.
So well defended here on Ida's side. Trying to force out an edge here, trying to find an opening, but Ochako doing Ochako things and pushing through and getting in that damage. Being able to bounce, getting free up those checks and being able to swing in turn after turn is incredibly useful. Turning one attack into multiple is huge.
Yeah, it just felt like Ida was constantly under pressure, had to block everything, and then finally letting through a couple of attacks, and Machago takes full advantage, picks it back up, hits him again, and couldn't quite recover from there.
Yep. But do look like we're gonna have a little bit of a side here for Ochako. Maybe take down those beefy attacks. Maybe bring in some attacks that are a little bit more flexible. Because we have seen that he has been playing incredibly defensively, so we might need a little bit more of a versatile attack suite to be able to kind of get in there.
Yeah, it looks like Ida's just shuffling.
So it looks like it's 3 cards in, 3 cards out.
It was 6 cards.
Okay, I thought there was the 3 and 3, but no, yeah, it looks like it was 6 in, 6 out.
Well, at least Ida 1 gets to start this time.
Yeah, I think the first turn advantage is going to be huge here. Another thing is that Ito was kind of pushed to use up a lot of his foundations abilities really early on, which kind of meant for the most part of the game, he kind of had just a blank stage, which doesn't help really,
Yeah,
like spending every enhanced step, basically just telling your opponent, yeah, okay, you can just kind of go. Definitely leaves a lot of advantage on the opponent's end.
and those early Gale Force punches, I think he might have gotten two foundations out of those. Definitely took a dent out of Ida's momentum.
Yep.
Let's see if our boy Trent's got what it takes to bring him back.
Yep. Let's see.
Definitely piloting the what we could consider the underdog character in the matchup.
Yeah, 100%. We're building three, and we built three. So build three and
Ooh,
pass. Nothing too crazy.
failed that last one, huh? It happens.
Is what it is. Sometimes the check's gonna work out that way. It's kind of been Ida's story here.
Yeah.
Definitely having a tough time with the checks this game, but totally agree. Ida's definitely the underdog representation wise here, and we'll see how much he's able to utilize the quirkiness of his character and maybe catch his opponents off guard.
Well,
3 on 3.
there's justice. There's justice.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spot here. Only two cards in Ochako's hand, so if there was an opening for early aggression, this is definitely it.
So looks like he threw
Looks like,
something in.
yeah, it looks like extend. Unfortunately, did end up checking a 3 on that, so still having some tough checks.
I think he checked a four. I think that's fulfill my duty.
It's burst.
But
That's
that's a
burst. Yeah,
reciprocal burst.
yeah, it's a
Dude
burst.
led. Dude led with a reciprocal burst.
Gotta get that damage in.
Gotta get it in.
Yep, looks like we're just gonna build now.
Well, at least you got the momentum out of it. You got five damage out of it. Taking
Mm-hmm.
advantage of the fact your opponent only had three up and not enough not enough blocks in hand. Or maybe the opponent just decided had some gas for the next turn.
Yep, 100%. You just kind of weigh your options and kind of figure out, should I go for the aggression, or should I go for the defensive, or should I just kind of keep my gas for afterwards? And I'm someone who uses my life as a resource quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely more of a aggressive player myself as well.
So we're still in round one, but Ochako took game one.
So we've seen this one before. Long lasting explosion. Good card to start off your attack string with.
Yep, some just good solid base numbers. And does look like we're going to full block. So repeating where we were at last time. Oh, another one.
Oh, this one's swinging in for 8 or 9 if it's unblocked.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're gonna give it speed hate with Ida. Hiroshima is a city in Japan, Hida, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay. It does look like we're going to block this one. So Ida here doing a really good job of recognizing that the big strengths of Ochako is the fact that you're going to be able to start looping these attacks. effectively for free, especially since you get the additional +2 on the checks of the subsequent one. So uh, full blocking these back to back has definitely been the right call in terms of just making it really tough on your opponent.
Yeah, and well, looks like he'd completely blocked everything.
Yep. One card left in hand. So basically saying, I don't think you can deal 28 to me, which is kind of fair, seeing as Lita hasn't represented that yet. But nevertheless, it's be a tight position, especially if you get pressed to a corner where you don't have a lot of life total, and then we kind of see the inverse of what we saw last game, where you have such a low life total, you're kind of playing too safely from there to be able to actually go for the win.
And he'd casually play it as a nine-hander this turn, drawing one from extend, drawing one from calling for backup.
Pretty decent.
Gonna have a few options.
Yeah, so setting up for the next attack, and we're just gonna take it.
Yeah, at this point, I think you're not blocking 4 damage when you have one in hand.
Not, yeah, you're gonna save it for. At this point, it's just hey, represent lethal, and then maybe I'll block. But until then, plus ultra has been checked. There's a hefty attack here.
Oh, I think that's the. Is that a DLC kick?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you discard it for some
The
speed.
yep, the high engine kit. Discard a card. This attack gets +2 attack. Gets +2 speed. If you discard an attack, gets +4 speed instead. And then it cycles, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Looked at 10 cards this turn, our boy Ida. Choose them and his attacks there.
If you don't have gas,
You
you don't
know,
have gas, right?
our boy Trent has shown a lot of discipline. That's what I'll say. I think he's playing the long game here.
Yeah. It's just it's the matchup where you need to keep blocks in hand. Whereas Ochako can afford to kind of just take hits and not worry about it too much. On the inverse, Ida, any hit represents taking that hit again. So it's just
Yeah,
it's a multiplicative effect and you just can't afford it. Especially when we're talking about like a long lasting that plays into another long lasting, so it comes down with an additional 3 damage, which is like a 9 swing, which is massive.
yeah, well put, well put. So either choosing not to respond to this first long lasting. He did play a plus ultra for block earlier. Oh, looks like that's not a plus ultra. Checks into what I think is an attack. Commits out quite a bit. Oh, and big daddy punch coming in.
There you go.
Gets the check with first day of class.
So follow up solid on solid checks here for Ochako.
Doesn't hurt. So looks like Ida does give it -3 speed. So
Mm-hmm.
it'd be easier to block this if uh, and he's making it even slower.
Well, if it's at 1 speed, it's much easier to block.
Oh, looks like Gale Force Punch. Punch him through. Destroying my
Alright.
foundation.
Setting it up to 3 speed.
Oh, okay. Using the Gale Force Punch effect to give his next. Is it a punch or fury, or is it punch or range
Puncher
attack?
Fury. It's Puncher Fury, yeah.
Yeah. Fails the block, takes 9 damage. Ochako gonna pick it up. Ochako boosted it. Gale Force Punch. He's gonna slam down another. Slams it
Yeah.
back down on a 7. Oh, checks a
That's
3.
11 damage. That's gross.
11 damage, and is he still have? Does he still have less? Oh, I thought he had to commit everything. Looks like he's still got some up.
He's got a pair just coasting there.
Oh, looks like he's got to destroy his only ready foundation because of the Gale Force. He still has more than his opponent, and oh my God, he's taking up the hit again. He's got another one in there.
Yep. I mean, I'll trade, 2 health for another 11 damage potentially, so looks like we're just gonna take it.
Oh
Go
baby,
all the way down to 8, so we're in lethal range now.
yeah. Especially okay on
Ooh,
the
signature
6.
right swing.
We checking good all day, baby. Comes in with a +5, get the +2 speed. Oh, there's the body language again. Oh, you got the elbow. You got the elbow on the table. Face, you can only imagine
Hey,
in
maybe
the
it's a bluff.
hand. You got the lean back, a final check at the cards. Tries to block with something. Knows he can't block it.
Yeah, and that's
Picks it up.
GG's. 2-0 for Ochako.
Yeah, that was brutal. The Gale Force punch into the Gale Force punch into the smaller but buffed up signature right swing.
Yeah, I don't think Lita played incorrectly here. I think, Ito recognized that, hey, the deck's just gonna have to play out this way because if I let Ochako do exactly what she just did, where I get an attack through, it's just the next attack's gonna be 10 damage, and it just kind of goes from there. So I think if anything, it's just they played correctly, just maybe a mismatch up in terms of one deck having advantage over another, and then secondarily, just the checks. Ida had such a tough time with checks this game versus Ochako clearing every single attack without too much hassle for most of the game, and hey, sometimes that luck will kick in.
Yeah, we can certainly give the uh, checking better award to Ochako as well on these 2 games at least.
Yeah, 100%. So that was our game for round 1, guys. We saw an exciting Ochako 2. We saw Ito represent himself, and of course, it's fun seeing that character run his own kit, a kit that is so good, and we see it in so many other decks. Extend and burst. We see his foundations used up in a smattering of other decks. So being able to utilize in his own deck is a ton of fun.
Yeah, agreed. Um, Hopefully, we see more and more Idas in the future. We certainly we see enough of Ida's kicks. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, 100%. And the opportunities will present itself. Of course, I constantly hear players talking about different ways that they can utilize ETA 2. And there's now ETA 3 that's been showcased. So, really, a bunch of exciting ways to be able to use the characters. And here's to see how players open that up. But with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break as players wrap up the end of the round. And then we'll be right back with round 2.